Hey, what's up everybody? This is Muse24, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Pokemon X and Y guidebook. Here it is on the right side next to the Black 2 and White 2 guidebook, and as you notice there's a significant difference in size there. The Black 2 and White 2 book is a lot bigger and a lot thinner because they're putting more on each page, whereas the X and Y guidebook is quite thick, but is much smaller, more the size of your standard novel. They are both in hardcover, though this one has a cover sleeve, whereas the Black 2 and White 2 one does not. So sliding that off to the side a second, let's take a look at the cover on the X and Y guidebook. You've got Xerneas and Evil there with the X and Y logos in the front. We have the official Kalos region guidebook on the top there. Along the spine basically says the same thing, with a little Xerneas figure down on the bottom there. And then on the back you have kind of a rundown of everything that's inside of there. You do get a couple extra little goodies with this guidebook. You get a 3DS screen cleaner, which has two sides to it, and this is actually still in the plastic wrap, but you have Xerneas and Evil there. And on the other side we have Chespin, Fennekin, and Froakie, which is kind of nice. I don't really plan to use that, just because I figure it's easy enough to just wipe any smudges of fingerprints that get on the screen with my sleeve, but it's kind of nice to have there, and it does look really nice. And then the other thing that you get is a fold-out map of the Kalos region. And it's not huge, but it's a decent enough size. So there's everything in the Kalos region of relative importance. They also have like a little key there of, where you can ride on Pokemon, where you can fly to, you can use Surf, etc. And then on the backside we have the type matchup chart, which is basically the same thing as was in the Black 2 and White 2 guidebook, except for obviously it has the Fairy type added in, because that's the new type for X and Y. So, removing the cover sleeve, we actually have some really cool artwork underneath on the guidebook itself. As you can see, they divided it up into blue and red, and then there's the X and Y sort of imprint behind the legendary mascots there. Same sort of deal on the spine as you had on the other one. And then we have the three starters, sort of their little white silhouettes there on the back, which is really cool. A lot of times when you take the slipcover off of a book or a guide or something like this, underneath it's just a blank color with the name of it on the spine and not much else. But this is really cool. They went a little bit of extra step to make it look nice with or without the sleeve. Because when I'm flipping through this, trying to reference stuff, find out where I need to go for this item or another, it's just nice to have something cool to look at there, I think. So, flipping into this, they have an index, or rather a table of contents, right off the bat will tell you, okay, here's where you go to get to the basics of the game, if you're not familiar with any of the other games in the series. Here's the walkthrough, and it'll tell you everything in order, without spoiling stuff, obviously. It'll just be like, well, you go to Route 15, jump to page 250 to get to the Victory Road step, jump to page 343, but it doesn't tell you, like who the gym leaders are or anything there. It just tells you the city gym or whatever. Then you also have the features guide for stuff like Pokemon and Me, and then a quick location index. Then we also have a smaller version of the map, as mentioned before, inside there. And then it does give you a recommended route, what you should do when you're playing through the main game, basically. There is a room for, slight deviation here and there, but for the most part, you're going to follow this path anyways. So it's just kind of like if you get lost somewhere, or you get stuck, or you saved your game and then booted up and forgot where to go, that's just kind of a quick refresher there. You do have some of the new features, like customizing your character there. It gives you a little rundown of that. The Pokemon and Me stuff, and shops and boutiques. And then it does also give you like a rundown of all of the different balls you can use to catch them, and how to evolve and trade and stuff like that. So it's just kind of a quick basic rundown there. Then you have obviously the run through of the game itself. There are some tables for like different typings and egg groups and all that, because some people are really big into breeding. But I don't feel like breeding is going to play quite as big of a role in this game, because there's the whole ability to boost the EV abilities with the new EV training thing. except for people who are obsessed with shiny, so maybe that might be the case. You do also have maps of all the areas, and it will tell you, okay, here's this item is here, this item's there, etc. The one thing I do have to complain about with this book is that the items are listed on each page as to, you know, like here's the area, here's all the items you'll find there, but they don't have anything in the back where it's like you could just go reference a certain item and then find out where it is and you know, jump back to that page. It doesn't like, there's no index in the back to say, oh, here's where you want the Dusk Stone, or here's where you want the Reaper Cloth, or whatever. Jump to page X to find that. It's not in there, which is kind of disappointing that they went to all the trouble of like putting them in here, but then you can't cross-reference it through the back, and I don't want to have to flip through everything just to find the one evolution item that I'm after or whatever. But besides that, it's not too bad. I'm not quite as impressed with it as I was with the Black 2 and White 2 guidebook. With Black 2 and White 2 it was kind of easy because I already had the Black and White guidebook and Pokedex, so I didn't have to, you know, get the Pokedex for Black 2, because I already knew pretty much everything that was in it, aside from the new ones that were added. But even that one, they had in the back, like, the different groups of types and their breeding groups and items that would make them evolve and stuff like that. And it was really cool. Just it was all very small, very quick snippets of each Pokemon in there, but it was nice to just have that. Whereas this, there is no Pokedex in this. I assume you have to buy that separately, and I don't know if it's out yet, to be honest. When I went to the store, I was just looking for this, and I didn't bother to check and see if they had the Pokedex for X and Y. So maybe it's out and I just didn't see it. But this thing's only $20, so it's not that expensive to pick up, thankfully. But you got to figure if they're doing the Pokedex separate, then that's another $20 you got to slap on to get the full text guide to X and Y. So that's a little bit annoying. So basically my recommendation would be that if you are like me and you really like to have a physical guide with you when you're playing, you know, RPGs or something like this, so you know where all the items are and stuff, X and Y's guidebook is a decent companion. Like I said, it's not as quick to reference stuff as the Black 2 and White 2 one, because there's no back index to be like, oh, here's the item I need, let me jump to that page. It doesn't have that. But it is easy to jump to the different sections that you need in terms of, like, here's the Pokemon Mini stuff. I don't understand how to do that. It'll give you a rundown of that. The EV training and all that does good at explaining that. And it does a really good job with the walkthrough stuff. It's just kind of unfortunate that it doesn't do a whole lot with the item searches, or even a ton with the post-game stuff. You know, it's explained in there, and I understand they don't want to spoil a ton for people, but you could just slap a page on there and be like, here's the post-game stuff, don't jump to this unless you've completed the main game, or whatever, or warning, spoilers ahead, or whatever. So it's a decent guidebook. I do like the way it's presented. You know, the overall presentation of this thing is great, but just some of the ways that they handled describing stuff in there isn't quite up to par with the last guidebook. So that's pretty much it for this review, and with that, I will see you guys next time.